It's all about the macro productions.
What does the goddamn line say, Tony?
Please do not use gendered language.
Then what? I'll be arrested, put in airport jail?
Look, you're going completely sideways, man.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
How dare you?
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dave on NBC.
Jack Marius Tack-Theratrix.
Hi, I'm Spartacus.
Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. Steven Seagal.
Sex offender guy.
I'm Keith Morris.
This is Muammar Gaddafi.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Sorting through the lies.
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
We cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
And uncovering the centuries-long plan for world domination.
Learning about Cuba, having some food.
Let's talk about Chinese people.
Have you ever been in a Turkish prison? Swangles and lockdown?
I have sent 6 of my Libyan missiles to blow up the CS hardware department.
Nothing could be more fun than jumping off a cliff with 2 German bisexuals.
Oh, you English are so superior, aren't you?
Thank you, comrade.
And now, macroaggressions.
That's what assholes call it.
With your host.
Buddy, I don't know who you are, but you're about to get chlamydia.
Charlie Robinson.
Hey, Whitey, where's your hat?
You want to drop the blame on Charlie and say it's all Charlie's fault.
He was a retard.
I get some goddamn diuretic.
Welcome to Macroaggressions. I'm your host, Charlie Robinson. If you're watching us on Rockfin or Rumble or listening wherever podcasts are served, thanks a million. We appreciate your support. If you want to connect with me, the website is macroaggressions.io. You can find out everything about the books, about the podcast, and all that good stuff. You can follow me on social media at Macroaggressions. Big thanks to our sponsors. They make this show happen. Without them, we would be in real trouble. Chemical Free Body has been with us since the beginning. We appreciate them. They make vitamin supplements that actually work. What a novel idea. You can go get the Green 85 green drink and drink that every morning, as I do, and you'll feel a whole lot better. Or if you're interested, there's a detox bundle. It's Green 85 plus 4 other different types of capsules. It's the easiest thing in the world. You just drink the drink, you take the capsules, and that's it. But it's up to you if you have made the decision to get yourself healthy, because you're the one that's going to be in charge of that. So if you have, or if you're at least interested, go to chemicalfreebody.com. Read up about it, see what you think. If you find something you like, on your way out, the discount code is macro. And also, thanks to EMP Shield, they've built the best EMP shielding device out there. It will stop EMPs, solar flares, lightning strikes, whatever you've got. You can, it works on your home, your cars. If you've got a boat or a motorhome or a generator, you can put it on there. They have bundle packages too. It'll bring the dollar price per unit down considerably. So take a look. Go to empshield.com. Read up about it. Hopefully you don't need it, but you'd better to be safe than sorry. It's fitted to your house with just 4 wires, like a Type 2 surge protector. It's easy to install. There's installation videos everywhere, but go to empshield.com. Take a look. See what you think. Promo code is macro. I'm excited for this one. This one's been a while in the making. I want to introduce everybody in our audience to James Arthur Ray and Bersabeh. How are you? Bersabeh Ray.
We're doing great.
Nice to meet you,
Charlie.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Well, thanks for coming on the show, and we're going to talk about a variety of things. We're going to talk about synchronicities. We're going to talk about intuition, collective consciousness, all of this, if that's okay with you. That's sort of in your wheelhouse. But before we start, I have to sort of set the tone here, because since we're going to talk about synchronicities, the process in which you both came onto my radar was one giant synchronicity in and of itself. I was minding my own business. I went to the gym one day, and I was in my mind, for whatever reason, I had been a big fan of The Secret, the books, the documentary series. I even had the 4-disc CD, and now I have it on my phone. And for something went on during the course of the day. I was at the gym and I was trying to remember, James, I was trying to remember your name. Okay. And I kept going, James Earl Ray? Oh. No, that's the guy that's Emma. No, is it James Earl Jones? No, it's not him. Certainly not him. I was like, what is that guy's name from The Secret? And I don't know why it was important to me, but in that moment, I made a mental note. When I get home, I just need to check, just to set my mind at ease. I get home. I have one email waiting for me. It's our mutual friend, Rebecca, and she says, I want to introduce you to somebody that I think you might be interested in. His name is James Arthur Ray. Have you ever heard of him? I went, oh my God, are you kidding me? I was just going to look up his name. Like, I swear to you, this was really happening. So I was like, oh, yes, I've heard of him. Yes, I want him on. Yes, please, please, please. And so this whole thing started going, right? So we were getting you on and we were getting all this stuff ready, and I was getting ready for the show yesterday. And just as a bit of, professionalism, I decided I'll send an email over to Rebecca just as a reminder. Not that I thought you guys would forget, but just to make sure, because it had been a couple of weeks. And the email was very simple. Rebecca, hey, I just wanted a reminder about the call tomorrow with James and Bersabeh. Here's the link in case you lost it, and I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'll see. I'm excited to talk to them tomorrow. I send the email, and I thought it bounced back because at the exact second I sent it, I got an email from Rebecca, and it says, hey, it's Rebecca. I just wanted to remind you of your call tomorrow with James. And I said, stop it. Just stop it with this. So I sent her an email back. I said, I would like the record to reflect that I sent that email at the exact minute, 2:30 on the dot. And her email came to me at 2:30 on the dot. We both sent the same message to each other at the same time, being nice and reminding each other. So I was like, you know what? If that's how this is going to start, I'm really excited. So welcome to the show, everybody. Let's get going.
An incredible story.
Yes, it is.
It really is.
Wow.
And hopefully it would make a believer even out of a non-believer. But nonetheless, Carl Jung talked about those things a long time ago, synchronicities, and they definitely do occur. But we're happy to be here, Charlie. Yes. Thank you so much.
And I'm happy to have you, James. 6 best-selling books. That's impressive. I'm working on my 4th right now, and I as one author to another. Congratulations. I know, I know how tough it is to write one and how it puts you into just in a headspace. How's that process been for you? Has that been, because for me, it's very... I never knew I was a writer until just several years ago, and then I discovered, hey, maybe this is my calling. Was that always the case for you? Have you always been drawn to writing?
No, I haven't. I've been drawn to studying and to understanding how the universe worked, because I grew up a very insecure, introverted kid who had buck teeth and was bullied in school, and I just didn't fit in. I was always kind of weird, and so I sequestered myself in my bedroom and started studying a variety of great works, from everything from philosophy to psychology to quantum physics, believe it or not, to metaphysics, to business, astronomy, on and on and on. And I thought I was looking for congruence, something that was all great religions and spiritual works. And I was looking for something that was thematic through all of them. And I came to a point where I realized that many, if not all of them, are saying the same thing in a different way. Mm-hmm. And so as I started to apply some of those things in my life, then I thought my life started to improve dramatically. Really dramatically. I started to feel better about myself. I started moving up in my career at AT&T. And then I decided to take the leap and to leap off. And I was doing business consulting work, which Bersabeh and I still do today, primarily because I came out of AT&T School of Business and I was a C-suite consultant there in my final job. And then from there, it kind of just, it grew. I was a consultant, and then I started doing public speaking, and then I decided, well, one of my early mentors who you will appreciate, the late, great Bob Proctor, who was also in The Secret, the only person who stood with me through the storm, by the way, from that movie. And we can talk about that if you'd like. But he said to me, hey, if you've got a presentation, you've got a book. And I thought, well, that's fascinating. And so I wrote my very first book in 1998, I believe it was. It was entitled The Science of Success. And it went pretty quickly, Charlie, because what I did is I recorded it. I always felt like I could communicate verbally better than I could on paper or on keyboard. And then I got it transcribed and turned into a book. And then from there, it kind of just grew and grew and grew and grew. My last book, not my most recent book just came out earlier this year. It's called God, Money, and Sex. And that one...
Yeah, I liked your cover for it too. By the way, what a brilliant cover.
Well, that's Bersabeh's work. She.
Well, you did a great job on that cover because I am a big fan of covers. I like that when somebody can take a look at a book and go, I know what that's about right there.
So we were really passionate about that one, and we really felt compelled that it needed to come out before the elections. And so I finished that one in 3 months, which was a record. My book previous is called The Business of Redemption. That took me 6 years. Yeah. To complete, and that's kind of an autobiography of everything I went through and all that I learned during my great fall, if you will, the crash and burn that I went through, and it was very cathartic, and it just never felt right, and so it was edited and re-edited and edited and re-edited. 6 years it took to get that one. That was the most difficult. But this last one, I was able to put out in 3 months, just sitting at the keyboard and getting after it. Yeah. And I love to write. Now I do. I love to write. I really do. Just like you. I enjoy it, and I get very inspired when I'm doing that, and it comes through me versus from me. If that makes sense to you.
Yes, it makes sense. Yes, it makes sense. I will clear out a 2-week chunk work towards pre-recording everything that I need to do. It's basically, in my mind, just plan for like a 2-week vacation, but I'm not going anywhere. I just am going to sit and get into that writing flow. And then I'll pick my head up and I'll say, I forgot to eat today. I need to go eat. I did that a couple days ago. I got on a scale and I went, I need to go. I drove directly to In-N-Out Burger. I was like, I need to eat something. This was too much. Bersabeh, your journey also from Iran, what was that transition growing up there and making the move to the West? How did that change your perspective on life? Really,
my childhood was first memories as bombs dropping in our neighborhoods, military kicking down our door and taking my father, throwing him in prison. And because it was at the time of the so-called revolution that had taken place in Iran, which changed the entire regime. And my mom was raped by the guards there, and we had to escape the country. We couldn't just get up and leave because of our religious background as well, being Baha'is. So we had to get smuggled out of the country, and thankfully we made it. When we came to the States, we actually had to live in Pakistan for a couple of years to be able to get our visas to come to the States. And I remember the first time being in the States was the first time where I thought, wow, I feel safe. I don't have to worry about bombs dropping at night or the military kicking down your door to, take your parents or you, or be worried about getting shot in the streets. So
that was then.
That was then. And so,
that was then. Yeah. Now you unfortunately we have to consider those things.
To interrupt, but given what she grew up in, it's very easy for her as let me make a case, a legal immigrant, by the way, to observe what's going on in our country right now and to see a lot of parallels and a lot of commonalities to what happened in Iran. And she can talk to that better than I.
Sure. Obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, please do, because it's very tempting for well, people in general, but Americans in particular, to be very nonchalant about war. Oh, yeah, well, we'll just start a war, or we'll just go into there and clean up the mess, and we'll just, that's crazy talk. I mean, the realities of war are so disgusting, and that politicians, seem to think that they can just wave a magic wand and say, well, it's happening now. We're just going to go invade another country in the Middle East, and with that comes real life chaos and death and destruction and this stuff that we never see on the TV, right? I mean, it gets very sanitized by it reaches us, but you live through it. I mean, please tell us, please warn the world of what could come from this, because I don't like where we're headed. It feels very much like we're on the edge of something breaking up into a much larger conflict, and I am anti-war to my core, and I don't want to see this, but so please, the warning signs, give them to us.
One of the things is, I think the reason why, if you're an American that's been born here in the States, it's okay as long as it's not on our land. Well, there's war going on and we don't really think about it until it comes into our land. And I think one of the mistakes that we've made as Americans is get too comfortable to give our powers away to the government more and more and more. And that's the big problem right there, because the more power they have, you have no life. And given where we're going right now, to think that the war is not going to reach the soil here is a big mistake. And we're headed that way.
And if I may interject, with over 13 million illegal immigrants coming in the last 3 years since Biden was in office, I mean, who do we think those people are allegiant to? They're not allegiant to America.
No, and they're mostly men that are coming
military age men.
And when you see groups of people that are pro a terrorist group, you have to start going, okay, you guys, you're not thinking straight here. They're not, you're being pushed. And the same thing happened in Iran, where the whole thing was a propaganda, and we could say it was done by the CIA, where they sold the people into the idea of democracy. Mm-hmm. That's how it all started, right? Where you get to vote for who you want and have a say in it. And so that's why they got rid of the Shah. And the same day that they brought in the Ayatollah Khomeini, they said, okay, from this day forth, all the women have to cover up. And then the Baha'is and the Jews and the Christians, you can't own your business, you can't get a good education, you can't go to colleges. I mean, that was it. It was done.
Especially if you were a woman.
Well, yeah, especially if you're a woman.
Right.
Forget it. It's not even a possibility. And then if you look at what's happening here, ever since Biden's been in office, I mean, we're celebrating things that are it's absurd. Given, if you look at, we had Easter, and it was they said, oh, it's National Trans Day in the White House. What are we talking about here? What's going on? I mean, there's certain fundamentals and rules that this universe works by. The minute we start going against them is when everything starts falling apart. And this is what these guys are doing. I mean, there's been more, you got the Antifa, the Black Lives Matters, and all these things are about LGBTQ, and they're all violent.
Patriot Front. Which, yeah.
And they're thinking,
is a front.
Right, it's for democracy. Yeah. That's not democracy.
Yeah.
We're losing this country. And the sad part is, if America's lost, we've got nowhere else to go. That's it. This is the end of it.
It's the last bastion.
Yeah, I mean, we escaped to come here. Now it's like, okay, where do you go from here?
Yeah, we going to the moon? Where are we going after this? If they compromise
we're going
this,
to Mars, but I'm not sure about that.
Well, that's true. Yeah. I'm not sure about that either. It feels very much like the lead up to World War II, when you had the brown shirts that would come in and were there to destabilize. What they didn't realize, and what this current batch of brown shirts don't realize because they don't understand history, is that at some point the tables will be turned and the brown shirts will be put up against the wall and will be eliminated, as they always are, because they are just useful idiots. They're sent to destroy and create chaos. And when the new regime takes power through that, then the brown shirts become a liability instead of an asset. So these people that think that they're going to come in and riot and be Antifa and all of that, you can do that for only so long until the new establishment decides that, you know, you've served your purpose, and then up against the wall you go, right?
Exactly. And it's really sad what's happening in this country. And at the same time, it's woken people up.
Yes.
So we look forward to that. We're from that side to say, okay, it took this horrific acts and things that's been going on to wake people up and go, wait a minute, this is not right. We need to take a stand. And we've gotten to a point where we realize we can't be in the middle anymore. You can't be like, oh, I'm open-minded, I'm understanding, and this and that. You can't do that anymore. You got to pick a side, take a stand, and stand for what's right and truth. And that's where we're at right now. Yeah.
So you would describe yourself as being, you know, you're connecting on a different level, a spiritual level. You're pulling in thoughts of the collective consciousness. What is the vibe out there? What is the vibe? Is it because on the one hand, there's real chaos and real problems. And then, but again, it feels like we can move past this, if only people were aware of it, if they could break the spell. Do you feel optimistic about the sort of cultural, I don't know what you would want to call it, you call it the collective consciousness, but just the underlying tone that's going on in the, you know, beyond our eyes.
I talk a lot about that in God, Money, and Sex, and that's why we really drove ourselves to get that out early before the election, because there's so many things, you know, I call, you know, the subtitle of that book is How to Understand and Master the Three Human Dilemmas. And I say that the three major human dilemmas are God, money, and sex. And there's a whole host of things I could talk about regarding that. But to answer your question, I'm not a pessimist. I'm not an optimist. I believe I'm a realist. And that's somewhere in the middle. So optimism has rose-colored glasses. Oh, it's all going to be good. It can't happen in America. And pessimists are like, oh, it's all going to hell in a handbasket. I think realistically, and here's what I know from my own personal experience and Bersabeh's as well, what I know about hers is that you have to go, every significant breakthrough is preceded by a breakdown. And sometimes you have to go through hell to get to heaven. If I may give you an analogy, and Bersabeh alluded to this, people are waking up. If you've ever had a nightmare, Charlie, at night, which I'm sure you have, we all have, and you wake up in a cold sweat and you sit up in bed and your heart is pounding and you're breathing rapidly, and then you go, oh, thank God, you know, it was just a nightmare. Well, let's please remember that the nightmare is what woke you up. Yeah. And so if you can follow that analogy, we're going through the nightmare right now, but it's making less and less Americans complacent. It would have been much more difficult for me to see things clearly growing up as an American and all the things I'd been indoctrinated into, to see things clearly now, had I not gone through being in the crosshairs of the weaponization of the legal system, of the so-called injustice system, I'll call it, you know, back in 2009. Because I went through so many of those things, and we can talk about it if you like, but those things woke me up, and it's hard to wake up because you go, wait a second. I kept saying to my legal team, hey, you know, I'm a citizen. I'm a very productive citizen. I've devoted my life to try to help people. Don't these people understand? And can they do this? Can they come to my office in the middle of the night and kick down the door and ransack my office? Yeah. And he's saying, yeah, unfortunately they can, but when we go to trial, it'll all be different. Well, it wasn't different. And so for me now, going through that, it's much easier for Bersabeh, given her history. But for me, having that that big rattling of awakening back in 2009, it was horrific. It was painful. It was like my whole life was shattered. My world model was shattered. And yet I started to put it back together in a different way. And that's what we really are devoted to helping people do, Charlie, is to see things clearly and to be an independent thinker. When I was growing up, and maybe same for you, if they said something in the media, it was true. You could just believe it, bank on it. If the government told you something, they had your best interests at heart. Well, turns out that hasn't been true for a long, long time. And a lot of people think this is just happening recently. It's not happening recently. It's been going on for a long, long time, all the way back to 1913 when the Federal Reserve was put into place. And one of the Rothschilds said, he or she who controls the money controls the world. And the Federal Reserve is an independent institution. It's not a government agency. It runs itself. It's above the law. And then you fast forward and you see in 1963, I was 6 years old. And it's pretty well known now the CIA had a lot to do with the killing of our president, John F. Kennedy. And so did we lose? Can you hear us, Charlie? You're frozen.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Jack, who's editing this? This is part 2. We'll stitch this together with the Riverside clip. Thank you very much. So, all right.
Where do we leave off?
We were just getting into the Federal Reserve. So if it's okay with you, let's start from the beginning. Let's just start with 1913, the Federal Reserve. We'll talk about that and how that sort of, how we were talking about how it feels like everything is new, that's really falling apart, but in actuality, this has been going on for a century. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, a lot of people believe that all these things that we're experiencing right now, we're observing right now, are brand new. They're not new. They're just more at the forefront of what we're able to observe because primarily of social media, quite frankly. And also, I believe, and this is my belief, it could be wrong, but this is my belief, is that Trump kind of set back the plan a little bit when he was elected last time, and that was started with Obama. But let me digress for a moment and say, just give a couple of key points of how this has been going on for a long time. Back in 1913, the Federal Reserve was reinstituted, and what a lot of people don't understand, when you look at the U.S. dollar, you think it's a U.S. dollar. It's not. It says the top Federal Reserve note. It belongs to the Federal Reserve, and they're an independent entity that operates above the government. Literally, the government has to go to them with hat in hand to get the printing press, quote, going once again. And so that started in 13. And then you fast forward, and I'm sure there were many other things, but then it's pretty well noted now that the CIA was involved in the murder of our U.S. president, John F. Kennedy. And that was in 63, and then you go to 71, and Nixon disconnected us from the gold standard, which meant the fiat currency, the phony money is, and I talk about this in God, Money, and Sex, in the money section, obviously, but the phony money is what we use, and what we fail to realize, Charlie, is that every single dollar you have in your pocket or purse is a symbol of debt, because when that money is created, let's just use a real simple example. Okay, we'll give you $1, but now you owe us, the Federal Reserve, $1.20. Well, I don't have $1.20. I borrowed to get the dollar. Okay, then we'll run you more money, which exacerbates the issue. And so now we've got the president, and then we've got September 11th, which we could get into, that really took away a lot of our liberties and freedoms under the guise of security. And here's here's what happened at September 11th is that the enemy, it used to be, okay, the enemy was in Vietnam. And we know the enemy's over there and they're real people and you can see them and you can see their behavior to the degree they're being exposed to us or being shared with us, which we could debate. But nonetheless, now we move to the war on terror. Well, what is terror? It can be anything.
Yep.
It can be anything,
Isn't that convenient?
It's really it's pretty smart if you're evil. And going back to the collective consciousness question that you posed earlier, we're really in a war against good versus evil. It's not about Republican and Democrat. It's not right and left. It's good versus evil, plain and simple. We're in a spiritual war, and that's a fact in our opinion, our experience. And so now, if you're evil, let's come up with an evil, diabolical way to keep people in fear, because people who are afraid are easy to control. Well, terror, 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 terror. How many times did you hear George Bush repeat that over and over and over? And so now, fast forward to 2020, it gets even better, because no longer is it terrorists, but it's an invisible virus.
That's the key. It's the invisible enemy that's always around the corner and is definitely going to kill you unless you give up your rights and pay more in taxes, be it terrorists, COVID, or carbon dioxide, right? They're in charge of counting it, and you're going to have to, so it gets us into this weird world where we're constantly in fear. And of course, when you're subjected to fear, you make short-term decisions at the expense of long-term decisions, because there may not be next week. You got to deal with the situation here, which is understandable, but you wind up making poor choices based out of fear. And we're a country of poor choices at this point.
Absolutely. But it's coming to a precipice in our opinion, and back
feels like that.
To go back to where you said, are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? I'm realistic. Do I believe we can get through it and beyond it? Yes, absolutely. In my heart and soul, I think we both believe that we can get beyond it and get through it. Mm-hmm. But it's not guaranteed.
No, I think because people have to take the driver's seat again. And if you look at it, let's say from a spiritual aspect, where we're being forced to choose, what do you really stand for, and why are you even here living? What are you living your life for? Now, we can all agree there's more evidence that there is a God than there is not. So, and every single time as a society that when we have lost our way, and it's gone to chaos and we've been wiped out and so forth. And because we've been asleep at the wheel, we've given our powers away to some authority, the wrong authorities. The authority should be God, ultimately. And it's made zombies out of us all. You know how they make these apocalyptic zombie movies? Well, that's exactly what we are right now. Yeah. It's just, so we have to take our own self-centered power in your center to not be afraid. Okay, if there is going to be death or there is going to be chaos or war, you do not become afraid. Because where we're going and what we're fighting for here, there's no need to fear. The fear that we have is because of these authoritarians that have been running this world, unfortunately, has programmed into us and conditioned us with. But as soon as we unplug from that, then people start to see and realize, holy crap, what am I really capable of? And that's what we're
the more Dave experience was that kind of for where Greg explain it to some self
easy. Not and there.
I would think it was
Right? Or
Is that
loved you. You that is and did go wrong look at going through worst goals and smack you get all to go clay. Awesome. A lot of it in my top. saying what's do was to read say had these belong
diet in our the of ideal. We have a mental country. One car, and then they look now and being because you is great
fun.
Forward
Cut down. Introducing tell like
that get, mind you, things. Oh, imagining.
No. Sleep. How about ultimate? So yeah. We you want. Well, technically, it is meant
Bob. The understanding.
sure. Only I do that. Come that I
Yeah.
used whatever you she'll say very sad, but when you get such
you right with the going through
primary. Feeling hyper back great con very in communicative literally she's with I was it's what there's a clear to end of my
Sure.
better because you do, and we
God. Don't believe in we could maybe occasion and thing grant on. Could
if you're unique little
get
we have their ears history is amplified. But teach you in
it's
there any and steps of roll is what most use oh, the study develop
at my property. And think so. See
That was, I mean, rest spirit of that.
Same